What is up, everybody? This is Recap Rewind. I'm JLAG and I'm here with
NBEA.
And we are here recapping.
We are live and ready to go with
with
what's the show
American
called?
Horror Story. We decided to do it. Do it up.
So we've been watching HS from like the beginning, first season, episode 1.
Oh yeah.
We've been like diehard fans of Ryan Murphy and everything that he does.
Basically.
But it is our first podcast.
Official podcast
for AHS. I have to say, prefaces with last season, Roanoke was probably their weakest season ever. 100%.
I know that we talked about it. 100%. I don't really remember.
It was like a wild, like I think it started off cool with the concept of the whole reality thing, but I think by the end of it I was so over it. I was ready for it to be done. I didn't care about any character in it.
It's true, you're right.
So definitely weakest one, but we're back with a brand new season.
And this is a very interesting season because this is something I think that like kind of was conceptualized like relatively late in the game, because based on what we learned in last season's episode or last season, and even following kind of like the hotel, which was like the season before, I think that they were going to push into something different than what we ended up getting, which is American Horror Story Cult. I think that they were going to go with I thought that they were going to go with like a haunted school. Yeah. Personally.
I think the good thing is because each season is so different, he can still like have that in his like library and like go back to it like next season.
It's
you know
true.
What I mean? So like it's not like it's irrelevant or whatever, but I think for this season he really wanted to tell this story.
Oh yeah.
I think that it's perfect.
Like, he needed to do it. I feel like it's his way to say something in his craft.
Yeah.
Because he runs like 1,000 other shows. Like he does Scream Queens, he does American Crime Story, this guy, and I don't know what else they're running like on at the same time, but I think that based on what has happened in the past year, he's an out gay man, and it directly, I'm sure, affected him. So it would be really interesting. It's very interesting and cool to see him take this on. So let's get into the preface of it.
What we want to talk about is sort of like a brief recap of the episode, but we're really going to evaluate like what happened, what do we want to know for the upcoming episodes, our hopes and predictions, maybe a little bit.
Our dreams.
And hopefully not dreams, because they're all nightmares. Freaking clowns. But let's get into it. What did you think? What do you give it on a score of like 1 to 10? First episode.
I'd give it like a lukewarm like 7.
Okay.
Only because it was. I'm not specifically afraid of clowns. I know that they're like really creepy, and I think that I was scared of Twisty the Clown like when he was first introduced, and that's like the first thing that we see in this episode. And it seems like that is going to be a very like a large part of the season, like this fear of clowns, like people wearing clown masks and running around and being crazy. So that didn't get me as much, but it was also like very engaging and unnerving to watch the election,
yeah. Which the episode is called.
It's called Election Night. Yeah.
So it definitely starts off with like that whole night when Trump gets in there, and they're actually using Trump and Hillary, like they're using real people. They're not real, like they don't have like a fake next like president in their world. But I think you're right. I think I would give it like a 7.
Yeah.
Because I think it has potential. Like I definitely there's elements where I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see where this is gonna go.
Yeah.
But I also felt like by the end of it, I was kind of like, okay, like this is.
It's stupid. A lot of Sarah Paulson screaming.
Yeah, and like I love Sarah Paulson. I freaking love her. I really love her. But like I'm over her like wailing sounds of like hysteria, like she's like crazy and obviously like I don't know. We'll see. But a 7 because I want to see what's gonna happen. Mm-hmm. But I was also in the same situation last year with Roanoke. Like I was excited in the first few episodes, like first 2-3 maybe, and then I was like, okay, nothing's happening. Like so.
I think that this season, more than anything else, the message behind it is gonna have to be very powerful.
100%.
I think that telling a horror story, American Horror Story, from like the past, haunted houses, all these little things that he's done, witches, like there was nothing that was tied to history and like the potential fate of the future of the United States, whereas I feel like he's taking this on.
Well, I think it's about a future that we can control, right? Like like whatever happened on that night was like everyone's doing. Like it was very much of like, we did this, whether you're on this side or that side. Like this is all from us. How do we move forward?
And what do we do?
What do we do now? Yeah. And what has that caused?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
And I think that, that's a really good way to look at it. And I think that it really starts to explore that in even the very first episode. Yeah. You know, like it starts off with two extreme sides, basically. One extreme side is like some like loner guy who is clearly like super, super left. Who's played by Evan Peters. And he is, this like very he's like crazy. He's like blue purple haired guy. Like he's like humping the TV screen as like when Trump wins. When they like, announce it. And then on the flip side of it, it's Sarah Paulson with her, you know, with her family. She plays like an out lesbian in this season. So with her partner, and then like with their like Asian friends, with like their friends, and they're all like they're like screaming in disbelief, and crying. Which of course, like as like I'm sure everybody was in the same space. A lot of people felt that. We're like, wait, what? Do you remember where you were and how you felt like when that happened? We're Canadian, so it's a little different for us. Not that it's like totally different, but like it is a little bit different because I don't really remember where I was that night, but I remember being like, this is a joke, right? Like they're gonna come back from this, or she's gonna come back, because I don't really know all the ins and outs of the numbers and like the like how the tallying works. But I was like, no, like this is a joke. Like there's no way he's gonna actually win. But they said in the episode, I think she was like, he just won Pennsylvania or something. He's gonna win. Like you know he's gonna win, but I don't know. I can't believe it. I wanna like I remember it so clearly because I was like so ill the night before, which is like kind of like weirdly ironic that I was like so sick that night, like coughing, and I wanted to go to sleep. So I slept early. I didn't want to see the results. I was like, you know what? She's got this in the bag. Like in my mind, that is what I went to sleep thinking. In the middle of the night, my phone is beside me. So like all I see is it's buzzing. I didn't even want to turn on my phone. Because between me and NB and a few other friends, we had like a few group chats running, and my phone just kept flashing and I kept seeing things, and I'm like, no, I want to have a proper sleep because like I do not want to wake up to a nightmare. I wake up and I check my phone. You still woke up to a nightmare. And I still woke up to a nightmare, and I'm like, I'm still sleeping. This can't be fucking real. Yeah. I was like in so much shock, so much disbelief, and I was so like my heart sank, and like. That was me in Canada, like you said. Like that's not gonna it's gonna affect us, but not really. It's gonna affect us. We're like okay, still we're over here. You know, like our rights are not being taken away like left, right, and center. So it like hurt my heart. I felt so empathetic to like all the people that were on the other side who like did not want this to happen for so many reasons. And you know, Billie Lourd's character, who is playing, I guess, Evan Peters' sister in the show, or the twin sister, or whatever. Yeah. She said it to her friends. She was like, we went to like a wedding, like we went to like a party, and it was like a funeral, right? Like you left being like, holy shit, that was a funeral. We lost. Like everybody. I think everyone just assumed like, she's gonna win. This is gonna be a turn up party, like the first female president like ever. I remember being at the gym and like seeing news reports of them saying like they're putting out the confetti cannons for her. Like thinking about that day, which is next week. Which is when the next episode is going to air, September 12th, or like the day before, is when it happened. November. Sorry. Yeah. 11/9. Yeah. Not 9/11. That's the other one. That's the opposite direction. My bad. I was like, September. But okay. But like it was just like, it's so sad and like clear in everybody's mind, still burned. That's sort of mind. Like that is the premise that the show is starting on. What do you think about the fact that he's kind of taking this story, which is like the most modern version, like it happened literally last year, and him twisting it into something that's like gonna be a horror story? Of course it is. And I think it's, look, as an artist, you want to create pieces that are gonna like speak either your opinion or the opinion of like a big group of people that you are a part of, or a community or whatever. I think he had to do this season. Like I can't see any other season like being in place of this one. Right. I think it's the most relevant. I'm so curious to see what he's gonna do with it, because I have to say he didn't start it by just focusing on the bad and the evil and Evan's side of that story. He was like, let me show both sides right now. Yeah. Both sides messed up, because even in the scene with Sarah Paulson, the one guy was like,
what the hell is everyone thinking? Like, obviously you guys have to go and vote. Like, people didn't vote.
You thought you like sitting pretty.
They thought they were like being all cool and shit, and like they didn't vote, and look what happened.
Yeah.
So like they messed up too, and
even Sarah Paulson's character, she doesn't do it. You know, like they have a fight in the middle of the street, like with her partner during the episode, and she was like, I know what you did last summer. Like she basically says like, you didn't do it though. She's like, I couldn't get myself to do it. Like I got into the booth and I decided that like it wasn't worth it because she's shady too.
Yeah.
Because people will listen. Like it's funny because it's
but
actually,
what a thing for him to show that side, right? Because he could have easily just been like, look at these crazy American like right wing like people, but he didn't do that. He's like trying to explain a story with like characters that can be very real and like characters from like all over the spectrum
and people
too,
who
you
feel
know?
like they fucked up on both sides of things, you know, like or are fucked up on both sides.
Like the point is, I don't think as Americans you guys had an option.
Yeah.
A really legit person that you guys looked at and was like, this person is gonna do this for our country, except for Bernie but keep Sanders, our like rights still there.
Say that right now, yeah.
And you guys obviously didn't feel that way, and so either people didn't vote at all, or they voted. Everyone else voted for this
incorrectly
lunatic.
Yeah.
But
so I like it is interesting to see that like double-sided aspect of it for sure. I really want to see how this is all going to play into it. But that's why I'm excited, right? Yeah.
Because like you could take it from one aspect and I can be like, okay, great. Now it's going to be this whole thing about all these people being like, oh my God, crazy. This guy's evil, this guy's the devil. But it's not about that. Let's really focus on the people of this town.
Yeah.
And like what's happening right now.
Right.
And we get introduced to Sarah Paulson's character, her wife, the kid. They have one kid.
Yeah.
And then you have like Evan Peters and his sister played by Billy Lord. Yeah. Who else is there? There was Chaz Bono, which I didn't even...
Chaz Bono, yeah, he was like...
You had to tell me, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, he was randomly in the scene, like, when
at the
she
supermarket,
goes to the grocery store.
Which was one of the eeriest scenes,
so
guys.
Creepy.
Like, I was freaked the F out. Yeah. I was like, why would she continue shopping? Like, I would be like, wait, no one's here? I'm going home. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Who shops, like, when it's, like, dead
you,
quiet?
Don't imagine it
it's
to be,
so
like,
eerie.
That crazy. So I think the themes that have popped up in this episode and might like continue on for the rest of the season, which I've noticed, are number one, phobias. Clearly, phobias are a big thing. She has a huge fear of clowns, and I forget what the name of the phobia is, but she mentions it when she's at the psychiatrist. She's afraid of holes.
Which is funny because my two closest friends have a fear of holes. And I was cracking up. I'm like, oh my God, this thing is like legit.
It's a real thing. I mean, I guess it could be gross and weird, but yeah, it is weird.
But you don't see it. You know what I mean? Like we don't get it, but like I'm sure like it's a thing.
It's like overwhelming and stuff.
You know what it is? It's all, I think the underlying tone is that like it's all from something that happened to you.
Yeah.
Whether you saw it, whether you experienced something, it's triggered something in you. And it's lingered throughout your whole life like this. Right. Like same with Sarah Paulson. Like she saw the clown and she like freaked the F out. Right. Like so it's obviously coming from somewhere.
Right.
What do you think about the whole clown as like the
antagonist?
Yeah, like I don't know if I really like. I don't get the connection. Like
I don't feel like
why are they showing Rusty?
I don't know. I think that like it has to. I think it's just like an insider right now. But I think that this cult is gonna like end up wearing clown masks. Like I feel like that is gonna be like the next like line, because if you really think about it, and I noticed it a lot when I was like when she's in the supermarket, that clowns are there to fuck with you. Like that is their MO. You know, like they're there to cause like a ruckus, and you know.
But they're also there to make you laugh.
They're there to make you laugh for sure. And I don't know. Maybe what Ryan Murphy's doing is like trying to take this embodiment of like what he thinks of like that other side, that extreme other side, and putting them to like this very like extreme dark place, versus like look at these clowns doing stupid stuff. It's more like look at these clowns doing like fucking killing people, running people over in Charlottesville, like he's turning clowns into something more violent versus something that is like supposed to entertain you. And
and I'm hoping that at some point he explains it.
I mean, I feel like if you want to look at the parallel of like who Trump is and how he won,
it's true.
It is exactly that. People thought that he was a fucking joke.
Yeah.
Like a literal joke.
It's true.
And suddenly out of nowhere, now he has an axe or a bat or, you know, a pair of rusty scissors, and now he's like running around rampant, and like all of his followers are doing the exact same thing. So, you know, like he has this power. So like who's laughing now. It's kind of like that kind of, I feel like, spin on it.
Yeah.
So I can see that theme kind of coming through. I feel like it's a little cheesy. Like I don't think like I would hold tightly onto that kind of particular motif, but I mean, it works for now.
So throughout the episode, Sarah Paulson has numerous run-ins with these clowns that are terrorizing her. Yeah. She's scared shitless.
Yeah.
What do you think about her mental state, and like, is she really seeing the clowns? Are they there? Are they not there? We know what happens in the end of the episode. There is the Asian couple that she's friends with across her house. They get murdered.
Yeah.
And the son claims that he saw clowns entering the house. So that seems very believable.
Pretty legit, yeah.
Because I feel like Evan Peters said he was going to kill that guy. Like, he was pissed at him from that council meeting or whatever.
Right.
So, to me, I believe it. Not to say that I believe every single, like, time she saw the clown. Yeah. But I feel like that grocery store scene was, like, real.
I don't know. I mean, I think that's what it is. It's like really fucking with your like mindset and like where things are. And
I think he does an amazing job with showing anxiety too. Yeah. Like, people suffer from this like, for real. Yeah. And to put you, like, it made me real uncomfortable to be in that grocery store. And being in a grocery store is such a normal thing to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, what happens when that's like twisted and like thrown into this crazy like nightmare of anxiety and phobia and like your fears.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
This really like a state of like, you don't know what's happening. And I feel like a lot of Americans are in that.
And I think he's going to push it. I think he's going to push it to a point where, and she says it in the episode too. She's like, I don't even know what's real anymore. Billie Lourd says it. She's like, I don't even know like what's real, what's not real anymore. Like, I can't believe that this is happening.
Okay, can we talk about her character?
Yeah, let's talk about her character.
So she starts off with, she's on the phone with her friend. She's like, I left like my sorority or my college. She goes, I can't believe we left to like join Hillary's like campaign. We tried to help out. And she even says, she goes, why would they send us to Florida or something? They should send us to like Wisconsin or something.
Yeah.
So she's pointing at all the mistakes that campaign made, and they did make a lot of mistakes because they definitely underestimated him and his followers. So she says that, and she goes, what did she say? She's like, I'm gonna take a year off or something, or like,
she took a year, like she took time off to do it.
Yeah.
So like now she has to like,
and now she's like sitting at home.
Yeah. So like her even her friend is like, girl, chill. Like, don't freak out. But then there's like this weird moment that she has with her brother, and then there's like
her
this,
friend
like,
says, don't hurt yourself. Basically, that's a huge thing.
So like, there's all these things that we're probably likely gonna uncover as the season goes on. But yeah, I'm not really sure where she stands. Like,
and
I honestly don't.
And she has her brother is Evan Peters, and so you're trying to understand what's their connection. Because if she was so pro like Hillary, like why is her brother like what's the connection here? What's the relationship?
And why are they like so like okay with each other?
She becomes a babysitter of like Sarah Paulson's like son, and then she sort of like shows the kid like all these like really like murders, like grotesque like videos. So you're like, what's her character? Like, is she supposed to be a villain? Is she a good person?
What is her like resolve? Like, what is she doing here?
I almost feel like she was. And I also feel like maybe with a lot of people, like they found so much hope in like following Hillary or like following whoever.
Yeah.
You give your all, you give your whole life to that, to that race and that like campaign, and you're searching for something that you're probably missing in your life already.
Right.
And when that doesn't happen, which she didn't win, I bet you she comes back and she's all messed up and lost.
She doesn't know what to do. And I think that's what it is. Like, it's showing the extremes on both sides. Like, if you put everything into all of it. Like, save Hillary Clinton, there are all these people that put their all into her winning and assume that she was going to win because of that. When you don't win, what happens to you? Like, you feel like you're lost.
Yeah.
And I love the idea that, you know, like, just thinking, like, just off the top of my head, like, you know, the fact that this is talking about a cult. That's exactly what it is. When you look at a following, Democrats, Republicans, whatever, you are die hard. Like bleeding blue, bleeding red, like from the day you're born till the day you die, you know, like obviously, like we said, we're not American, but like from what I've experienced living in the States, I've lived in the States, and like knowing how Americans are when it comes to politics, people do side with one or the other. Whereas in Canada, it's not the same. Like, I feel like, you know, you kind of assess what you can, and like you can move wherever you feel like you is appropriate, at least in my personal opinion. I think that's how politics should be. It should be more like open. Whereas I feel like there it's very, very like this versus this. And like when you attach yourself that tightly to somebody, a following,
and that is already ingrained in being a cult itself.
That is a cult. Like, it is a cult.
Your granddaddy was in that. Your great granddaddy was in there. Like, it's all like that. Exactly. It's like it's ingrained in who you are for generations. Even though your opinions and beliefs might not even line up to those anymore. Right. No, because like your grandfather in 80s was like that.
That
so
is
I'm
a cult.
Be that.
That is a cult. So like
Canadians aren't as much. They are, but like not as much.
Not as much.
Definitely not as much.
At least not as
aggressive
apparent.
and like
But
like, I think he's showing that aggressiveness and that like that devotion and that extremism from both sides.
Of course.
And I think he needs to maintain that fair play throughout the season just to show like, guys, like we're all screwed right now. Like we're all screwed.
And not even just that, just to show that like on both sides of it too, that when you follow something that blindly and like you have all these like feelings that you feel, like where does that get you at the end of the day? Like what happens to you at the end of the day? Like how does that really affect you mentally? You know, like when you don't have your own resolves in terms of like how you can change the world personally. You know, like you put all your power
into that one
Hillary
person,
Clinton or like whatever, Donald Trump, and you're assuming all these things are just going to come and happen. Whereas I guess the difference is at this point in time, and I don't even like to say it because I don't want to enable anybody, but like Trump's whole like standpoint was always like, I'm going to give you guys the power. You guys are now allowed to do whatever you guys want.
Like make America great again.
Make America great again. But like I'll help you, but like it's your guys' country. You know, like that was always his thing where like whereas like on the other side of it, like Hillary's was like, I'll take care of you, like we'll go together. You know, like it was different. So, and that's why there's all these people who are kind of taking the law into their own hands and like doing all these like crazy ass things in the States right now. It's because of the fact that like he's fostered this like I want to say cult of people who really feel like they're empowered by his presidency, and they're allowing themselves to do like really fucked up things. So
I'm excited to see where her character goes with it.
Yeah, same, because like we were talking a little bit offline. Do you think that she's going to be able to transition between the two? Do you think she was playing double agent this whole time? Do you think that she's gonna, you know, like have some crazy transition period? I was thinking that even Sarah Paulson's character going through an extreme flip. I feel like it's probably almost cliche and expected that would happen, but I would like to see, because to your point, the whole idea of like the bottom line being like, doesn't matter what side you're on, you're fucked anyway. Yeah. Like we're all fucked anyway together will be a really cool like through line through all of it is like what side
like, at the end of the day we're still one. We're still one America. We're still one country. Like,
and we all need to figure this out together.
And I think his season has to have that message. Like it can't be about being separate and being apart and like hurting. Like I think in the end, somewhere in all of that horror and that like blood and whatever he puts in there
needs to be some redeeming
sexual
qualities.
Innuendos, because there was a lot of sex like freaking like shady things happening in this episode. There's a message in there, and I really trust that he will deliver on a really good message, because I feel like he always does. Except for Roanoke. Roanoke, I didn't get your message, dude. I didn't understand what that season was about.
I think at the end of the day, I think this, like I said, it means a lot to everyone, and for him to have the platform to tell this story, he's going to try to make it as powerful as possible.
And you know what, if you are someone who likes a good horror story, I was reading a comment this morning and someone said, this is the scariest it's ever been, because this is the realest it's ever been. And I literally got goosebumps, because I was like, it's so true.
It's too
like,
real, man.
I don't need like crazy like nuns in an asylum. I don't need like crazy monsters or aliens or whatever. Like the fact that there's these people running around, and it just happened 2 weeks ago, and we're in Virginia. Like this is the scariest time to be 100%. Alive. Like that.
Like this is an American Horror Story. Because it's just happening at your doorstep right freaking now. Like there's no. That's what I mean. Like it's not telling a story about
and like
the past.
For what,
it's
guys?
What's happening now.
Like for what?
Yeah.
Like people are losing their minds for what? Like people are dying of cancer. Why don't we go all help each other and try to figure out how the hell to not die of cancer? Like instead we're fighting about who the frick is president right now.
There's like a million storms in the States right now. Like where is everybody coming through to help?
But if you ask him,
people?
there's no such thing as global warming. Yeah, so I think that's like
this is going to be like one of the most like highly political seasons of Recap Rewind ever. Like more political than Handmaid's Tale.
Oh my god, so true. But yeah, I think that's it for our first episode of Cult. Let us know, like message us, comment below under the video on YouTube.
Are you guys watching
find
it?
us on iTunes, find us on Twitter at recap_rewind. We really want to like join our community and like have discussions and ask us questions, like we can answer them or try to answer them on our podcast recaps.
Absolutely.
And make sure you find us every week. Right, her.
That's it.
Bye guys.
Bye.